Dr. Ishi, you must be getting a lot of people now. Are the clients decreasing during festive season or they come afterwards when the deed is done?
Well, usually the rush is afterwards, after they're feasted, but also now before because they're getting ready for it. So they all want to look at their best and look perfect. So yeah, today
So
it's
that is another consideration. We all want
yeah.
to look good. So now that we have enough time to prepare, it's
Hmm.
been about 2, 3 weeks. So what are the tips that you would tell?
So I would just say that this should be a lifestyle rather than just doing it in fits and spurts and looking at 1 or 2 milestones. It's just good to be consistent with your body because that's when it behaves the best. And body means everything from head to toe, inside out, your skin and your body shape and everything. So I first would emphasize that learn to make good choices of food consistently, and it doesn't mean that good choices are very bad tasting or they don't have to mean your favorite foods. It can be a part of your regime and how to entertain yourself and have your favorite foods without their conflicting. So food and food practices both need to be looked at. So I always say what you eat is important, how much you eat is important, how you eat is important, when you eat is important, how you digest is important, and what you don't eat is important. So it's like everything put together. And rather than making it very complicated, if I just say simply that you can just make very intelligent choices by normal food, just ensure, and everybody knows those things, that you eat vegetables, fruits, eat early. Today, that's also a message which has gone in very effectively. And also ensure that you eat at the right time of the day. Don't eat late at night. Whatever you want to eat, eat along with the sun. I think the Ayurvedic expert would resonate with that. So, all of that. And at least 50 to 60% of your food should be vegetables. And divide the rest with grains and proteins, and which is, it could be animal protein or it could be plant protein, whatever you like. And now the biggest game changer is what we have seen in practice is the grain choices. What you eat in terms of what you choose to eat as a grain. A grain really means cereal, your roti, chapati, different kinds of flours, millets, or rice, or similar, staples, as we say. So, what do you make as a choice? How much you have of that, number of portions, number of times in a day, and when you eat it. So if you're able to fix this, and typically we say each meal has to have an urge. No, if you are fighting fat or you're trying to trim down your belly for your festive season, you may not have it at all. You can give it up. You can have it in one meal. You can have it at lunch or dinner or at breakfast, but have it in the early part of the day and make the right portions also. If you don't have to have those 2 chapatis, अगर एक ही काफी है तो एक ही लो, तो ऐसे करके तो number of times and number the portions, and that's a game changer. बाकी तो हमारी अपनी डाइट में दाल सब्जी वगैरह तो है ही, we don't have to talk about it, it's inherent in our diet. And add to that boosters, add the sprouts, add the amlas, add the haldis and all the good things which help to detox. Have good fats, ghee khao, virgin coconut oil khao, use healthy fats in the kitchen, have nuts and seeds and as snacks, makhane khao. So, it's really not rocket science. We made it into very complicated science, but the actual action and the actual intervention is not difficult if you don't complicate it.
Drink water in the morning and don't have too much heavy foods at night. So the eating window is very little actually.
Yeah, I think we all can do with that.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, Priya, the question that you raised was very interesting. That why do you get mental clarity, or why
Yeah.
do you feel better overall
After
sense of after fasting? Is also the elimination of inflammatory foods from your system. When you fast, you typically alter the grains. You are having pseudo millets or some very simple grains or rice, or you are having vegetables, or you're having fruits. So all the processed food and all the trigger foods which typically cause a problem to the gut microbiome, they don't exist in the diet, and that is what leads to a signal, and the signal is from the gut to the brain. There is a happy gut, your brain will function better, and all parameters, not only just mood and mental clarity, but overall, the sense of well-being is heightened, and the clarity of mind, all that is there. And my patients tell us that, oh, we did intermittent, or we did a keto diet. Not that I'm recommending keto, but when you don't change your food, you reduce the carbs and the wrong carbs, you immediately feel the difference in your brain. And then they say they ate wrong, it disappears. So the connections between what you eat and your gut and your brain are very clear. So in fasting, you're removing all those toxins.
Uh, how do you, keep your metabolic rate or your digestion juices flowing really?
Yeah. So just adding to what was being said,
Ah,
that the purpose of fasting is really giving your system digestive rest.
okay, that's true.
And digestive rest can happen when you have foods which are easy to assimilate and digest. So that is the purpose. And like she rightly said, there's an immune system deficit with every change in season, because the microbial flora inside uh, gets imbalanced with the extreme temperatures and changes. So the way to reset it is to give it some kind of relief. So that therefore the philosophy of the fast is very important. But what we typically do is, what we are allowed to eat, we focus on that. अरे ये भी खा सकते हैं, अच्छा इसका ये बना देंगे, अच्छा इसका ये है तो इसका हम ब्रेड बना लेंगे, इसका कुछ, मतलब we constantly trying to evolve into making things which are palatable to our liking with the grains which are, so maybe somewhere we defeat the philosophy. So we should focus on being simple and eat more vegetables, or the vegetables which are permitted, and more fruits and lots of fluid, and eat only once a day, which is really what a fast is all about, and eat early. That's also part of the fast. So that is really a big important message to everybody who's going to be fasting for Navratras. And the use of alternative grains, like we already said, is very, very sound. I think our forefathers and ancestors were far smarter than all of us. We didn't get the connections. Now, coming back to your question on whether we should, how do we digest? And so, I think today addressing food sensitivities is a very big area, because most of us today globally, not only in India, are suffering from what we call dysbiosis, which is a technical word for saying imbalanced gut flora. And that is coming from the foods which are not really something which we are going wrong with. It's just changed. The ecosystem has changed. Agricultural practices have changed. And so what we are eating now to what our ancestors were eating, the wheat is not the same. The corn is not the same. It's all modified. And that is creating a lot of disturbance in our gut. So we need to first address that to get to how to digest our food. So if we are suffering from bloating, constipation, acidity, these are minor symptoms. Two other symptoms, like if we have autoimmune problems or skin problems or hair problems, these are all reflective of something going wrong in the digestion. And that's what Ayurveda said. That's what the Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, said. All diseases begin in the gut. So your food is in the direct contact of the gut. So what you put in is really critical. So figure out what you're reacting to. These are signs and symptoms of something not right. And you can do it in the Navratra time. I think that's a great time where, whether your digestion is not okay or okay, can be figured in the Navratra. If you feel better after 9 days of change of grain, there was something wrong that was in the grain itself.
So good time to reset your body.
Yes, and taking prebiotics and fiber-rich foods which are prebiotics, and pickles which are also fermented and give you the benefit of making good bacteria, and fermented foods they have a functional benefit. So putting those back into the food.
System.
Yes.